What is going on, you guys? My name is Rage and we are back today with another Dark Dimension 5 update video as I prepare here now and discuss more further on the next stage of my progression, being the global nodes. Now keep in mind, I have actually already wrapped up the global nodes, so I can speak from experience and oversight, so that's why I like making these reflection videos shortly after, even before I release my global videos, because of the length of time it takes to edit. But as well, while this knowledge is fresh in my head, I do want to share this so that way it can help you guys plan and prepare. Now, before I dive into the 5 characters that worked really well for me personally in my attempts, I do want to bring your attention here to this infographic. Benny Westside does a phenomenal job with graphics, as well as working in tandem with the other communicating content creators of the community. So that said, this infographic is super useful because it outlines for us, characters that are actually good in Dark Dimension or outside of Dark Dimension, as well as the gear cost usage. It's really important to assess this because you do want to fine-tune a balance of 5 characters that can provide value inside, outside of Dark Dimension. You want to obviously be able to utilize them more than once. As well, you have to find that balance between the gear cost. And gear cost can be a couple things, right? It can be the type of gear, as well as how heavy of that specific materials you'll need given that particular trade and so forth. So for instance, if you guys followed my city nodes, I used a lot of bio materials specifically for my web warriors. There's not as many bio characters in the global node, so that actually gives us an advantage. You really want to kind of strategically think about, which characters, which traits are being utilized as you progress from the first 3 nodes being untraded to city, global, as well as cosmic, and then lastly, the legendary node. So those are all really, really important, especially when you're trying to think about resource management, and ideally, you just don't want to be gated, right? For instance, if you specifically just build one certain trait or node, you're not going to be able to progress as fast as you think you would, and as well, you're going to find a gear crunch right away. So a really obvious one in this example is a lot of folks right now are building the Darkhold members of the team. And you can see there's a couple of them already on this infographic, being Wong and as well as Agatha Harkness. But both of them, in my opinion, they wouldn't actually add that much value because although they are good in Dark Dimension, or at least useful somewhat, and really good outside Dark Dimension being part of that arena stage, respectively, they both utilize Mystic Gear, which then constricts you later on for the Cosmic nodes and as well as the Legendary nodes. So for that reason, I actually would not recommend any Mystic characters for the global nodes because we actually have quite a generous selection of characters here that can get the job done, but as well as being able to save your Mystic Gear for ultimately the Cosmic nodes, which do matter more, especially if you're looking to bring in characters such as Cersei and Icarus as part of that Eternal squad. So that said, there are some obvious synergies that you can see on screen here, and it's not the best use of reference, but please make sure that you understand, what your gear constraint is, where specific materials you're going to be utilizing, because all this can be dependent upon which characters you used in the city nodes or the initial 3, as well as what you're planning for the legendary and cosmic nodes next. So unfortunately, there is not going to be a clear answer here, but really do understand the different traits categories here, because I think ultimately that's where a lot of players kind of lose track of it, and before you know it, by the time you hit that G16 upgrade, you could already be gated for gear, and then you're just stuck waiting to refresh in the store. And although it is a marathon and not a race, it's going to take a lot longer if you don't plan accordingly. So that's why it's extremely important to plan. So that said, you guys, that's a really good deep dive of the infographic. Now let's dive into the 5 characters that actually provided amazing value for me, as well as other strong considerations, in my opinion, that could be considered. So starting things off here, Dr. Doom, without a doubt, hands down the best character for the global. If you guys can get your hands on him after being Dark Dimension 4, really him providing value in all game modes. He's definitely a top 5 character in the game. The fact that he has such a strong healing sustainability for these next 3 nodes is huge, right? He's got devastating offensive capabilities, giving that speed meter to whoever he ultimates on. It's actually huge. And as well, what's nice about him is being utilized in Dune 2 raids, which is endgame, and having that mixture of both the tech and Mystic Gear. The reason it's nice because you can actually split up the upgrade materials. He is on the higher end for gear costs, but well worth it because you're going to see that the value he brings in, he can honestly make it a living nightmare or a really smooth experience for your attempts in Dark Dimension 5 for the global node. So that's how much of a difference he can actually make. Working in tandem with Dr. Doom, I found second best for sure is Captain Sam. even if you're not able to get Dr. Doom, I think Captain Sam's an absolute must because of the value he brings in, not just outside of Dark Dimension, but as well as all game modes, and what he can bring to every team and not just his Secret Avengers team. Stars and Stripes, the special ability to grant energy, defense up, counters, deflects, speed up as well to fellow Avengers and skilled allies. This is something that just can't be replaced in many teams. And if you guys have watched my videos before where I've, raved on and on about characters that aren't offensive, Captain Sam being really more defensive minded and supporting, they're always going to have longer mileage in the game because of that value of being able to be slotted into a wide variety of different teams. And Dark Dimension 5 is no exception to that. His ultimate ability as well, Freedom Flight, being able to pick up speed bar for himself and all skilled allies. That's really huge, and doing some really decent damage as well. That 450% is actually pretty notable, so he can hit hard, he can tank, got great support capabilities, and overall just a really sound character. So working in tandem with Dr. Doom, those two are really the backbone for me that worked really well, especially for these nodes. Next up, Sharon Carter, definitely one of the best characters in the game, a top 10 when combined with Captain Sam and Maria Hill, part of that Secret Avenger squad. Using her every day in Doom 2 raids, but as well, I found how useful she really was in Dark Dimension. That I didn't have her before, but just having two opportunities to actually crowd control, right? And that's something you want to be mindful of because Dark Dimension is always about controlling the waves and managing the enemies that come forth, especially when you know someone's going to cleanse. I think one of the nodes we're actually up against a Dr. Doom, and just her having close quarters combat special ability here to ability block, defense down, it can really buy us time and actually prevent our team from even wiping. Her ultimate ability as well, just being able to stun and clear positive buffs, so having a cleanser there is really huge, as well as applying slow. And as well, whenever she is paired with Captain Sam in raids, she does have that speed bar reduction, so unfortunately she doesn't get this benefit in Dark Dimension, but just something notable in case you guys didn't know that about her ability. Just another crowd controlling character and utilized, like I said, every single day. That's why I highly would recommend. A big one for me as well was Lady Deathstrike. Now, for me, again, taking a look at the skill gear materials here, I had to consider someone that was not skilled because of the amount of skilled characters I was bringing in, especially when you think about how powerful Kestrel is going to be later on, as you'll see. For Lady Deathstrike, she's got the speed turn, the turn meter speed reduction. She's got some really strong offensive capabilities, applying bleed and rebounding, defense down. So she works really well with the team. And overall, what I really like about her is her passive, right? She actually gets a heal every turn. So she has some really decent self-sustain, and when she drops below her threshold, she actually gains death proof and evasion. So I found that she can self-sustain and actually be able to survive even in these higher packed nodes that are very powerful with their health pools. Lastly, rounding out the Secret Avengers is Maria Hill, given her supportive capabilities. And this was pretty much the end of my skill gear materials. Again, I realized that not a lot of players will be able to afford all of them just given the amount of skill gear I'm using, but I also factored in I'm not using skilled in my cosmic nodes as well as legendary, so that's why I was able to go all in on my skill gear here being the Secret Avengers. But Maria Hill, again, having the special here to actually summon clones to actually be able to take up damage. These troopers are able to soak up and as well applying a defense down when she triggers that ability. Shield care package is the really big ability for her ultimate here, being able to apply deflect to all the Secret Avengers, having a strong heal and cleanse. So again, really big. She also does additional damage as well, but just those three actually working together extremely well. Those are the 5 top characters I personally recommend, and with these 5, I was actually able to get through each node either 1 attempt, 2 attempts, or 3. So I mean, it worked extremely well when I was going through, and didn't find much time actually being wasted, even gated. And now I'm actually just waiting on the cosmic gear to come along. So that's what I mean. I was actually able to blow by them really quickly. So the big one again is Dr. Doom. I think he's gonna make it really streamlined and easy if you can get your hands on him. Another one is I know if a lot of players don't have the 3 skilled gear materials for the Secret Avengers, a good option actually is as well Emma Frost. If you guys have mutant gear, you're not planning to bring up too many mutants for the next couple of nodes here. Emma Frost has the cleanse. Her ultimate can actually apply blind to primary target, and with the mind control additional DPS. The one thing notable about Emma Frost, however, is the fact that she does require quite a bit of a gear cost. So just make sure you review her mutant gear requirements, because I am planning to also bring Jubilee in the legendary node. So that's something I factored in when I was reviewing my gear cost. And as well, I think another good option overall is actually taking a look at 2 characters, right? I don't have them built up, obviously, but I've definitely seen from other content creators as being options. Sabretooth, good damage overall. If you guys already have the Weapon X team already built up, you know, he might already be naturally ready to go. His gear cost is also a little bit lower as well, and he is a good investment outside Dark Dimension because he can be used in War, Cosmic Crucible, so he does have value. Next up, similarly, Silver Samurai. A little bit on the higher end with his gear cost, but again, he has good value in all game modes, aspects. He's utilized especially heavily in War, and the synergizing once again with that Weapon X team. So I think those are the really big ones for the global nodes, just because of how common they are already built up naturally in the game, especially from that infographic that we've seen. I wouldn't recommend Young Avengers, and I wouldn't recommend any of the Dark Code just because of that constriction with the Mystic Gear, but as well as their utilization being in Dark Dimension and having that sustain ready to go. So there you guys have it. I hope this video was able to give you guys some input and good advice in terms of the strategy as you prepare and organize yourselves for Dark Dimension 5. Thank you as always, you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one.